The agility, flexibility, and scale of multi-cloud environments drive new business opportunities. But when your applications and workloads are distributed across clouds, they're also more vulnerable to an attack. Is it possible to get the advantages of multi-cloud without security trade-offs? It is. VMware gives you the strongest multi-cloud security without compromise. It starts with secure workloads. As we know, you cannot secure what you cannot see. So complete visibility into all workloads with detailed system context is a critical first step. By integrating workload protection directly with vCenter, you gain unparalleled visibility into your environment to reduce risk and harden workloads, while helping to streamline and operationalize security. With one click in the vSphere Client Console, you can easily view inventory of all workloads, see a risk-prioritized list of vulnerabilities, automate IT compliance reporting, activate next-generation antivirus, and more. Next, secure workload access and communications inside and across clouds. VMware Security provides protection of lateral communications while delivering API security. For threat detection, you get contextual knowledge of applications and their associated network traffic to efficiently detect and prevent threats without performance degradation. You also get the power of machine learning to rapidly detect anomalous activity and malicious behavior of lateral movements in your network. With VMware Security, you get an extra layer of protection with a full system emulation sandbox that malware can't detect, offering visibility into every malware action, even those designed to remain hidden. If a breach should occur, response time is critical. AAA certified SE Labs, VMware's network detection and response, correlates and organizes events from all three detection layers for rapid threat hunting and response. With VMware Security, you can extend secure workload access solution consistently. Easily operationalize security across clouds with scale-out architecture that offers underlying infrastructure with the same elasticity as modern distributed applications. Finally, multi-cloud security isn't complete without securing your public clouds. With VMware Security, you can reduce cloud misconfigurations, one of the leading causes of public cloud breaches. Get real-time visibility, prioritize risk, and collaborate with developers to auto-remediate violations. With solutions that span every phase of the MITRE ATT&CK framework, VMware gives you the most secure multi-cloud platform to host your workloads. To learn more, visit vmware.com/solutions/multicloud security.